If your Japanese reading skills are practically non-existent, but there is a Japanese book you'd like to read and there is no official translation, nor a fan translation out there, then one can use machine translations. There is a Python-based program called Mokuro, which is meant to be used for optical character recognition of text in manga, but there are a couple forks of it on GitHub that integrate the translate Python software into it. Unfortunately, this is not a local process, meaning you are actually using software in the cloud to do the translating. At the time of me posing this video, late July 2024, this is free and available to use, but the fact that you are using software that is running off some server elsewhere means that these aren't guaranteed to be true in the future. This also means that there are some restrictions. I found I could get about 500 pages from light novels translated a day, which should be enough for casual fan use. The fork I used was Mokuro, and you need to install this from a downloaded Git repository. If you pip install Mokuro, it will be the wrong version. Also, by default, Python Translate uses the My Memory translation service. And this service, if you don't supply an email, is extremely limited in how many characters they allow you to translate at a time, so before you install Mokuro, you should modify the manga page oka.py file to include an email address. If you installed before doing this, you can navigate to the user's folder, your username subfolder app data local programs Python, then the folder with the Python version you installed Mokuro with, lib, site packages, Mokuro 0.1.7 and stuff, then the Mokuro folder inside that, on line 30, where it has self.translator add, email, equals quotes, and in between those quotes, add your email address. Now you will need to have some Japanese text to translate. To my knowledge, for this fork of Mokuro, you need to have the documents as a set of images. If you already have a set of image files, then if the content is from a light novel, to make the process easier, first divided that content down to sets of about 100 pages, a dozen more should be fine. But I find that 100 works well. If you feed too many pages, you will exceed my memory's usage limited and it will just spit out a bunch of limit reached errors after that limit is hit. If the limit is reach, all the JSON files generated in the Oka folder with that error message should be deleted so that on a later running of the software, properly translated files can be generated. I found about 4-hour gaps between translation sessions worked well. To run Mokuro, just open a command prompt and type Mokuro, add a space then. If the directory your images files are in doesn't contain a space, you can just copy-paste the directory's location. If there is a space, then have quotes around the location name. At the time I recorded this, I had set this computer system locale for non-Unicode programs to Japanese, which is why the command prompt is showing yen symbols instead of slashes. That change had and has nothing to do with this translation process, and on your computer there will be slashes instead of yen signs in the command prompt most likely. There may be brief pause of a dozen seconds or more, where nothing happens, but afterward the software will give a prompt about how each of the paths above will be treated as one volume continue. Just type E and hit enter. It will then do its thing. Reminder, the actual translation software is not local, so you will need to be connected to the internet during the process. I found 100 pages on my computer takes about an hour and a half, maybe a bit less to complete. I'm not sure how much the specs on the local machine matter to the process, but this laptop has pretty high specs. By that, I mean a 16-core 32-thread Ryzen and 4080 RTX graphics, so if your computer has much lower specs and it is taking much longer to process, that might be normal. I haven't tested on a lower spec machine to know if it matters though. If you have a digitized Japanese book, but it isn't already broken down into individual image files, it is easy to convert it, many file type, into a set of image files. If your books are in PDF format, then all you will need is a free piece of software called Scribus. Open the PDF in Scribus, then go to the menu's File, Export, Save as Image option, and be sure that the image size in pixel is something sufficient, at least both dimensions should be over 1,000. And if they are over 3,000, then it may be prudent to lower them. If they are over 9,000, your document may turn Super Saiyan and your computer screen will probably shatter. you change the resolution of the image by changing the resolution DP setting. After you hit OK, it might seem like nothing is happening, but there is a bar on the lower right of the screen that shows the progress of the process. Once it is complete inside the folder, you set it to save to will be the collection of image files you can translate. If your book is an EPUB, then you will first need to convert it into a PDF. Once it is a PDF, just do the previous shown process. To turn that EPUB into a PDF, you will first need a second free program called Calibra. Open your EPUB in Calibra. It will add it to its list of EPUBs that it has found on your computer, and from that list, find the book you want to convert and right-click on it, then select Convert. Books then, in this example, convert individually is fine. A new window will appear with a bunch of options. What is most important is to make sure that the Output Format option at the top right of the window is set to PDF so that scribers can open it. Once you click OK, the window will close and the previous window will have a Jobs button, which upon clicking will show the progress of the conversion. Once done, you can right-click on the listed book that was converted and select Open Book Folder, which will stupidly bring up the sub-option of, again, Open Book Folder. This will open the location where the PDF can be found. Then open that PDF with Scribus and export as images. If you don't have a Japanese book to convert, but there is a Japanese book that hasn't been translated that you are interested in, then you might try searching the e-book store Bookwalker for it. Just for clarity, this isn't sponsored by them. I only just recently found out about that site. After twice having an order for a physical copy of a Japanese book cancelled days later for not actually being available, I did a search and discovered them. Unfortunately, the books bought from Bookwalker are only officially viewable via their website's book viewer and app. There likely is a way out there to easily extract them, but I used the tried and true laborious print screen and paste into Mrs. Paint, then save rinse repeat method to have a stored copy of the bought book, running OCRed Studio in the background, then extracting the pages from the recorded video is another option. After you have converted all sets of 100 pages, you can run Mokuro again to make a single HTML page with the whole translated book in it. First, you will need to group the files together the correct way. The directory structure should be one, while you will have the folder where you will have your translated book in HTML form in. The previous sets of 100-page HTML translations can be deleted first. Inside that folder will be a folder where all the previously separated 100-page sets can be rejoined as a single folder with all the pages in it. Another folder labeled _OCRed should be made, and in that folder, an empty folder with the same name as the one that has all the pictures should be made. Put all the JSON files with the translations in them together into this single folder. Now run Mokuro again, pointing to the folder with the complete set of images. If the folder structure is correct, Mokuro will very quickly take all those JSON files with the translations already done and put them together as a single book. Check that the HTML file is working fine and you can delete the JSON files. If so, as the HTML file will contain the complete translation. A folder with all the image files of the book, though, will need to be in the same folder that the HTML file is in. The translation is far from perfect, but I was able to read the 10th Boogie Pop novel and understand what was happening. Don't expect constant quality. Some parts of the translation will be a mess. Use context and previous and future clear parts to work out the less clear translation. If you are someone that needs everything spelled out clearly, then this method isn't going to be a good option for you, but the only other option is paying for a human translator or teaching yourself the language at a level you can read the book fine. That just said this also might be a good way to help you learn the language, as both the Japanese and translation are visible. Well, hope this is useful to someone out there. Whatever.